Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Stogie Review Video Review. I am Walt White from the StogieReview.com, and well, I'm here to do yet another weekly cigar review. And up for review this week, I have a cigar that I just happened to mention on Dog Watch Cigar Radio when Jerry and I were on just last week as their bundle or their bargain recommendation, and that is the Cigar Place bargain bundle. This is a Honduran cigar. They come in bundles of 25. They're available in 3 sizes: a Robusto, a Torpedo, and a Churchill, all of which run the same price, $34.95, which brings the total cost of a single cigar to about $1.40. Now, these cigars are made by STC Cigar Manufacturing Incorporated. Now, the company is out of Miami, Florida. And from what I understand, they are more or less the parent company, and they have these boutique brands sort of, I don't know, as a part of the company, just they're, I don't know, below STC Cigars. And some of the cigars they manufacture are, I think they're called GR for George Rico. They're another very affordable bundle brand. And the most common name you're going to hear out of STC Cigar Manufacturing Incorporated is Gran Habano and George Rico cigars. So these cigars are made by the same folks who make Gran Habano cigars. Now, as I had mentioned, these cigars are available in 3 sizes: a Robusto, which is a 5x50, and that's what I have here. There's a Torpedo, which is a 52x6 1/8, and there's a Churchill, which is a 48x7. And once again, they're packaged. They all come packaged in bundles of 25, and they run $34.95 a bundle. Now, as far as the wrapper goes, I'm not quite sure. It's just labeled as Colorado Maduro. I'm not quite sure exactly what this is. I know more often than not, Colorado Maduro is a reference to a color and not a wrapper, but I could be wrong with that. The binder and filler, as far as I understand, are Honduran, and these originate in Honduras. Now, the cigar itself, I got a few samples from Julian, who runs cigarplace.biz, and they come completely naked, no cellophane, no band, no frills. Everything they can do to make this cigar extremely affordable, and it works pretty well, especially at $1.40 a piece. But the cigar really isn't much to look at, and it's a very faded brown color. It's got a couple of veins here and there that are about medium. They add a little bit of a texture to it. The color, it varies a little bit from head to foot. As far as the construction goes, it appears to be solid. I mean, I was just kind of pinching the cigar a little bit before I turned the camera on, and it feels solid from head to foot. It's got a nice firm feel to it. Consistently packed. I'm not coming across any loose spots, any hard spots. So it feels like a solid cigar. The aroma on the wrapper is fairly rich. It's got a nice spicy aroma to it, and the wrapper, or the aroma at the foot, is much less. It's sort of like a mild earthy flavor or aroma. And again, along the lines of keeping the cigar as affordable as possible, it appears that the cap is what they call a flagon cap method, and from what I understand, it's a process in which there isn't a separate cap. It's everything is made up of the wrapper leaf, and it's cut in such a way that when the cigar roller gets down to the head, it's just cut and shaped and then flat and then folded over, which makes a cap. And on the back side, there is no crease. So it appears that it is just one entire leaf, and there's not an added piece. Although, the more I look at it, I guess it's possible. I have to wet it down and take it apart, but I'm not going to do that. You know what? Maybe I will take it apart. Give me just a sec. I'll be right back, and I'll tell you if there's an applied cap. All right, that was quick and painless, and I was wrong. There is a cap, and there it went. It's a big solid cap, and well, no, I was wrong. So, cigar is not that flagon cap like I thought it was, which you know, to be honest with you, I really don't know what that means. Whether I mean, I suppose a separate cap means more labor intensive, which means just better overall product. But you know, I don't know, just rambling on at this point. But unlike my previous examples of this cigar, the draw is fairly firm. It's got a very mild flavor. It's almost flavorless. But I'm gonna go ahead and get everything lit and get this thing underway. And well, as soon as I get the cigar lit, I'm getting the draw is freed up a little bit. I guess it's just some pre-light resistance, but in any case, the cigar is smoking well. I'm getting a good volume of smoke. My initial impressions on the burner are just fine. I don't have any runners developing. Everything looks to be even. So so far so good. At any rate, I'm gonna kick back, relax a little bit, and enjoy my Cigar Place bargain bundle, and I will be right back. We'll get started on the first third and see how the cigar develops. Welcome back, and as you can see, I've been plugging right along with my Cigar Place bundle brand, or bundle cigar, and you know, it's going fairly well. The oops, knocked it right off the ashtray and onto the table. But at any rate, the burn line is mildly wavy. It seems to have corrected itself right before I turned the camera on. You know, as I was getting into it a little bit, there was a moderate amount of waviness that again seems to have corrected itself now. The burn line is very dark. It's fairly thick, and the ash itself is very dark. And when the ash does develop, it's very compact. You know, there's no flaking going on. It's a very solid ash. But because of the nature of the fill, I'm not quite sure. I don't remember whether I was told this is short fill or mixed fill. But in any case, when the ash gets to about a ½ inch in length, it suddenly just kind of plops in your lap, or at least that's what happened to me. But again, you know, that is the nature of the beast. If this is in fact short fill or even mixed fill, you're going to get that just because you know, the tobacco doesn't run the full length of the cigar like a long filler cigar. So there's breaks in there, and of course it's going to drop because there's nothing solid that runs through the cigar. Now, in terms of body, the cigar is about medium body. It's got a fairly smooth finish. It's mildly, or it's fairly short after you expel the smoke from your mouth. You know, just a moment or so, the texture that kind of lingers on the walls of your mouth, tongue, and palate quickly fade, and that's what I mean by sort of medium body. It just kind of lingers there a little bit. The strength of the cigar is about medium as well, in terms of like a nicotine flavor. It's not very aggressive. It doesn't kind of hit you really hard. It's, you know, it's medium. The flavors itself are, well, the primary flavor is just this natural Honduran flavor. And what I mean by that is, if you smoke Nicaraguan cigars, you'll note that just about every one of them has this Dale Rouse coined Nick Zing to them. You know, it's just a common trait throughout all the cigars in from that origin. And to me, Dominican cigars have this sort of natural woody, salty flavor to them that is common amongst, you know, all the cigars I've tasted throughout the Dominican Republic. Honduran cigars have this flavor all their own, just like the other two did, and it's kind of difficult to describe. It's sort of like a woody flavor with a mild salt component and just a mild spice component. And you know, it's a nice, relaxed sort of flavor, but it's something all its own. And I've found it among a lot of Honduran cigars. Camacho sort of has this flavor to it. It's more predominant in the punchline, you know, things like that. I want to say El Rey de los Habanos, but that's not right. It's El Rey del Mundo. Yeah, totally different factory, totally different company, all that. But it's a common flavor amongst, you know, those types of cigars. Now, the secondary flavors, or the background flavors, I should say, are more of like a mild spice, a mild pepper. It's a nice, solid cigar. You know, there isn't a ton of complexity and depth. It's just a decent smoke, and for what it is, a bundle cigar at $1.40 that is meant to be economic. You know, I think so far it's living up to that $1.40 price tag very well. And you know, when you go into smoking a cigar that's this inexpensive, you know, you really don't have high hopes, or you don't set the bar too high. And you know, this is exceeded what I would have expected from a cigar of this price. So far the cigar is doing very well. I'm going to kick back, relax. You know, you're going to take a look at a couple of pictures, listen to a little music from the PodSafe Music Network, and I'll be back. We'll get started on the second, third, and we'll go from there. Well, welcome back, and as you can see, I'm plugging right along. I'm most of the way through the second, third now, and so far I'm really enjoying the cigar. You know, it's, you know, without getting too detailed into an overview at this point, it's not the type of cigar you sit down and you focus on. You know, that it's not like that Padilla Miami or the or New Oliva Serie V, where you sit down and you're totally focused on the cigar and you devote your time to the cigar, and you really focus on all the flavors that you're getting out of it and really enjoy yourself. This is more of the cigar that you smoke when you're doing something that's a little hands-on, whether or not you're typing up a review or just kind of surfing the web, or even something as like yard work, not to be confused with like a yard guard or anything like that, but you know, just something that involves you working with your hands and not focusing as much on the cigar. You know, this is like perfect for those occasions. It's got nice flavor. It's very much one-dimensional, but it's got this nice Honduran flavor to it that gets a little richer as you go along. You know, the flavors of spice and black pepper are still there, and they're very much unchanged. And really, that Honduran flavor is just slightly richer than it was before. So the cigar has just a little bit of depth to it, and it's got decent flavor. Now the body is still in the medium range. The strength of the cigar is picking up a little bit, and what I mean by that is it's getting a little more aggressive on the palate, on the throat, on the sinus, things like that. It's got more of a more of a minor tingle to it at this point. Excuse me. Now the finish is still fairly smooth. It's got a very mild, creamy texture to it, which is nice, and the room aroma is nice as well. Now the draw is pretty much the same as it was earlier on. You know, it's just mildly snug, but it produces enough smoke to easily fill your mouth with smoke, and it's dense, easy to get through your sinuses, kind of wafts around the air a little bit, and the room aroma is fairly mild. It's not offensive, and just all in all, you know, I think it's a decent cigar at this point. So without, you know, getting way involved on the overview, we'll just leave it at that. You know, it's a decent cigar for $1.40. It's definitely worth more than that $1.40, or I get more out of it than that $1.40. But at any rate, I think I touched on all the notes I wanted to talk about. So at any rate, I want to talk about how I got to know this cigar. Actually, several months ago, I was talking to Clint, who's a moderator on the fan forums. Clint's from Canada, and he does a fair amount of purchasing through Julian at a Cigar Place. And at one point, he contacted me and asked me if I had tried the Cigar Place bundle cigars, and I told him no. And being that he spends a fair amount of money there, he called up and asked Julian to ship me some, and that's what he did. So I got a few cigars. I really enjoyed them, and I was going to do a review, but it kept getting put off, mostly due to the fact that Cigar Place was being renovated. They were redesigning the website, and they wanted me to hold off until the website could support, you know, a good recommendation, you know, since I had liked the cigar. So that's what I did. I ended up waiting and waiting and waiting, and then eventually I smoked all the cigars, and I had to get some more, and that's where we are today. So it's been, I've had several of these, and I've been smoking them off and on for several months now, you know, and you know, so far I'm enjoying them. I want to get into a little bit about the variation between these each individual stick a little bit later on, but at any rate, that's how I came to know the Cigar Place bargain bundle. So with that said, I'm going to take a quick break, sit back, puff away on my cigar a little bit more. Well, I'll be back. We'll do the final third, wrap things up, and I'll let you be on your way. Well, welcome back, and as you can see, it's about time to wrap up my my Cigar Place bargain bundle. And it's been about an hour and a half now, and it's getting about that time when the cigar is ready to be set down in the ashtray for good. It's beginning to get a little harsh, you know, a minor irritant in the back of the throat and sinuses. But up until now, the body remains medium for the most part. The strength slowly but steadily increases, and it gets a little more aggressive on the walls of the mouth, the tongue, the palate. You know, I'm left with this this minor sort of tingling sensation. Now, the finish, on the other hand, is it's got this mild sort of creamy texture to it, which comes and goes fairly quickly. I mean, after you expel the smoke from your mouth, you know, give it a few seconds, and then this creaminess kind of fades away, and you're ready for another puff, which is, and I like that sort of creaminess that comes and goes. It really keeps me interested in the cigar. Sometimes I like it to be a little longer than others. At this point, it's kind of short. It would be nice if it was stretched out a little bit longer, but you know, for the price of the cigar, I really can't complain about what I'm getting. Now, the flavors, or in the flavor department, everything's been fairly one-dimensional. I mean, there really hasn't been much change from start to finish in terms of this Honduran tobacco flavor. It's just there. It doesn't go away. It doesn't go away in a good way, but there really isn't any change. The only change is that it gets a little richer as you go along, and it's not a big significant change. I mean, we're talking about the same basic flavor from start to finish. Now, the secondary flavors, or the sort of background flavors, they stay with you throughout the entire cigar too. I mean, you get this mild spiciness through the sinuses, and about midway through the cigar you begin to pick up this sort of black peppercorn flavor that is very mild. It's in the background, and it's most notable when you pass the smoke through your sinuses. You know, overall, I really can't complain. It's one-dimensional, and I don't typically care for cigars that are that way. I mean, there are some that are fairly straightforward all the way through that I love, like the nub cigars, for instance. But, you know, at this price point, I mean, I think this is a great cigar. And you know, I don't say, you know, a great cigar like this is going to compare to an Ashton VSG or something like that. But whether or not I want to, just sort of subconsciously, I have benchmark cigars. You know, when I smoke a $10 cigar, I smoke the cigar and I think, you know, how does this stack up to a Padilla 1932 or an Ashton VSG? You know, a nice premium cigar. You know, how does this cigar stack up? Do I get, you know, do I get my money's worth like I feel I do out of the VSG and the Padilla, or is it kind of lacking in a little bit? You know, and I have those same feelings towards that $5 to $6 range. You know, how does this stack up against the way I feel about an Oliva Serie V or a 1495? And you know, as we step down the price scale, I feel the same way about the $2 to $3 cigars. You know, how does this cigar stack up to a Padron Laundress? How does this cigar stack up to a Flor de Oliva Gold or a Natural or whatnot? And you know, I really feel that this cigar stacks up well with the Flor de Oliva line. And as far as I'm concerned, you know, that's one of the best $2 cigars you can buy. While this is like it's just a step below the Flor de Olivas. You know, I really enjoy those cigars. I enjoy this cigar. And if you're the type of person that, you know, you like to go out and work on the car, you like to go out and work on the lawn, work around the house, whatever the case may be, and that you just want a cigar as a companion with you, this cigar is just not going to disappoint you. There's enough flavor there to keep you interested, but you don't feel that you need to completely focus your time on the cigar itself. I mean, it's not offensive. It doesn't get very harsh until, you know, you get very short. And, you know, I just think it does very well overall. You know, if I'm working around the house and I put the cigar down to work with both hands and I forget to pick it up, I'm not going to be upset. You know, it's $1.40. I'll just light another one. And, you know, I really can't say enough about the cigar. For the price of about $1.40 a stick, you know, I think this is a very good value. So, anyway, that's my thought when the cigar place bargain bundle. You know, it's I think it's a solid cigar, and it's worth more than what you would pay for it. And that's what I consider a value to cigar. Do I get more than I paid for? And in this case, I really think I do get more than I paid for out of this. Now, I had mentioned also that I wanted to talk about variation between the cigars. Now, I guess it's sort of the nature of the beast. It's a very economic cigar. I'm not sure whether they use short fill or mixed fill, but in either case, there's some inconsistencies between the cigars that I've had. And, you know, they're not major inconsistencies, but, you know, one cigar might have a much richer Honduran tobacco flavor, while another one might seem kind of mellow. And, you know, that's the type of variation I see from stick to stick. But again, at this price point, I really don't mind that bit of variation. So, all in all, it's I really have no complaints. I mean, it's a good solid cigar. So, next week I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be smoking. Actually, what I think I'm going to do is smoke a mystery cigar, and that should be pretty interesting. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to approach it, because I like to research the cigar and pre-write all the information, you know, wrapper, binder, filler, and all that. And I'm not going to be able to do that and report, you know, brand information on the video if I have no idea what the cigar is. So. The next video just might be a bit bit of a learning curve here. There might be a bit of a learning curve to it. I have to figure out how this is going to work, but I'm probably going to be smoking some sort of mystery cigar. Maybe I'll just smoke the cigar and worry about the details in the write-up later on. But in any case, that's all I've got for the Cigar Place's bargain bundle. So until next week, happy smoking.